There you go. That is a poor man's curry. A really easy, simple curry to make. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today, poor man's curry and naan. Okay, easy to do. We're not using any meat. I know you're going to say, oh, curry with no meat, but no, we're using red lentils. Red lentils, full of protein, full of everything. We're making this really cheap. People have been saying about the prices of mince and beef and things around the world. This puts a really healthy curry on the table, and we're making naan as well. Okay, now people call it naan bread, naan, whatever, but naan means bread. But I couldn't care less if you call it naan bread. Everybody calls it naan bread. So we're going to make a red lentil curry and naan bread. Easy recipe. We've got the red lentils already rinsed and drained. We're in a pan, look, as you can see. We want to be adding some stock or water. So I have veg stock. You can use chicken stock. You can use anything. You can use just water. It doesn't matter. It's whatever you have. Want a flame on, and we want to be bringing this up to the boil and then simmer. Simmer for about 12 minutes. Now you keep an eye on it. You have some more water. We actually want these to cook, swell up. And it doesn't matter if there's some water left in there, to be honest. We'll just chuck it in the curry. But, you know, we just want these to cook, plump up, and not dry out. They're going to take about 12 minutes from boiling when we turn them down to a simmer. Now you can season this. You can go in there with some salt. Okay, whilst that's coming up to the boil, let's just move this along. Let's put that there. We're going to make the naan. Okay, in here, self-raising flour, or self-rising if you're in the States. If you're in the States, you're not adding salt. Self-rising flour has salt in. Self-raising flour doesn't. That's a little bit of salt. This is yogurt in there. So this is going to be as basic as it can possibly be. Just mix that in. We want a dough. And we actually want about a little bit of oil. Now the little bit of oil, so I don't know, about a tablespoon, somewhere around there, teaspoon. The little bit of oil will make it soft. So just bring that in, nice and steady. These lentils are starting to come up to the boil. Look, a little stir on there. And you turn down your flame. We want to be simmering them away now for about 12 minutes. Back to the naan, bring it in. What a nice dough. There you go, we brought that in. That's quite alright. It's a little bit tacky, but that's fine. In there, we need to cover it actually. Put a cover over. A little bit of wrap will do. So just keep giving it a little stir, because it's going to absorb the fluid and we don't want it to stick. Now, why do we use red lentils? Well, red lentils cook quicker than brown or green. So, you know, you can still use brown or green, but the red lentils cook a lot quicker. Always handy to have in, you know, keep some lentils in. They can go in anything, you know. You can put them in stews, soups. You can make a really cheap shepherd's pie or cottage pie with either lamb or beef. and you could put the lentils in there as a thickener. It goes a long way. And the thing is with the lentils, they actually dissolve in. You know, you don't have to have loads of lentils to chew. You know, it dissolves in and it's packed with protein and goodness. Okay, once you've got your lentils to that stage, a little bit of texture still in them, that is off. We need that to cool down. Well, we don't need it to cool down, we just want to put it to one side while we crack on. Right, grab yourself a pan. I've got this one, this will do. Again, for the people that are going to ask, this is a marble coated non-stick pan. It's not the same as one as I usually use, but it's the same. It's marble coated. Okay, we want to go in there with a little bit of oil. Flame on. And we are going in there with our onion. Get that in. A little saute on those onions. Put a little bit of colour on this. A little bit of browning on there. Season to taste. Now we are going a little bit salt and pepper here. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. Now that is going to compensate for chili. Okay, we're going to have a little bit of heat in there, underlying heat from the pepper. If you want to go strong chili and boost it up, do so. Okay, we're getting a bit of a tinge on there. Look, that's just going to add flavour inside. Fabulous. Go a little bit more if you can. And then we'll add our garlic and ginger. Garlic and ginger have been minced on a grater. That's looking okay, look. In there, our ginger. In there, garlic. Now don't rush around, it needs to bloom in there. Once you start to get the smell of that rawness start to leave the pan, and you can smell it leaving. It's not as strong, you know. Stir it all in. A nice colour on those onions there, look. Now, turn down the pan, and we are on minimum spices. Curry powder of choice. Cumin. We got some chili flakes because I want it a little bit warmer, and we're going to add a little bit of turmeric. So just bring that in. There's not much oil in here, look. But we're on a low flame. It ain't burning. Nice little toasting on there. Now start to bring it in with that onion and that garlic. Now you can do this two ways, this next stage. You can take your tomato paste and put it in now, or I'm using a can of tomatoes. You can go in with the tomato juice, stir that in. That's going to stop any of that from catching in the bottom. Okay, so we're going to just stir that in like that. That's just going to keep going nice and steady. And then we can go in with the tomato paste. And it's a good tablespoon of tomato paste. Little whiz in. Bring that in there. Now you can add a little bit of sugar if you so wish. if you think it's going to be too sour from the tomatoes. You don't go crazy though, just add about a teaspoon. So we got this lovely curry coming on there, look. It's a lovely base sauce. Now I'm just reaching up to here. I'm not going to go over there to get white sugar. I'm going to go in there with about a teaspoon of brown. But use white, use any. Okay, our tin tomatoes. Our tin tomatoes are whole tomatoes as usual. And we're going to cut them up in there with a pair of scissors. It stops the mess everywhere. We're going to dump that in there and we'll finish them off. Now we're not bothered about bits of tomato, are we? Very nice. Now you can increase the heat a little bit. So we want to start to cook this now. So you're going to give this about 3 minutes or so just to bring it all together. Now the curry powder obviously is curry powder of choice. You know, if you want to dig out a hot curry powder or mild, medium, use that. You know the spice level you can eat. If you don't eat spice, don't put the spice in. No chili powder, chili flakes, and go for a very mild curry powder. And then you still have a delicious meal on the table without the spice. Now, in there with our lentils. And just bring it in. Now what you want to be doing is letting this cook for about 15 minutes. That's all. And you've got a beautiful, beautiful curry. Okay, I'm going to stick this on behind me and we'll make some naan. Okay, what we need to do is get some ghee. Okay, I have ghee. Okay, now we're not using ghee. We're going to make a clarified butter really quickly. In here, I've got a little bit of butter. Boil your kettle, tip some water in, put that in there, put a lid over. By the time we've finished, the milk solids will have gone to the bottom and we'll have a good clarified butter to go over. It's not pure ghee, but it's very, very good. We're going to take our dough we've just made. We're going to chuck a little bit of flour on there. We're going to take our dough and we're going to divide it. You divide either into 4 or 6. I'm just going to go 4, I think. And we're not necessarily weighing it out, it doesn't matter. Okay, that's what we're having. I'm going to take that and we're just going to quickly roll it on there. Just roll it into a ball. A bit sticky this dough, but not to worry. And put it back in your bowl. You can just roll it in your hands if you want. Up to you. Grab yourself a non-stick pan. Don't rush. A little bit of flour on a pin, flour on that board. Take your naan to be nice and steady. Turn your flame on your pan, heat up your pan. Do you agree that looks like a naan bread shape? Okay, that's warm enough. Just turn down the heat, we don't want to be burning anything. That straight in a dry pan. It'll start to bubble in a second. Gives us time to roll another one out. The main thing is don't rush. There is absolutely no rush. Start to bubble up now, look. So get yourself some tissue or cloth or spatula, anything like that. You're going to need it just to give it a little bit of a pressing, just to help push the air around inside and cook the inside. Here up it comes, look. Nice and steady. Oh yeah. And then flip it. Okay? And it's going to come up like a pita bread, but it doesn't matter. Give it a little gentle one of those. And we've got a perfect naan. We haven't done anything, have we? How easy is that? No yeast, no nothing. Just yogurt and flour. A little bit of salt. In here, clarified butter. Milk solids on the bottom. So I'm going to leave that there while I do this. We're going to take this naan out. I'm going to put it on here. Leave your pan warming. And you're going to take some butter. And you're going to brush it all over your naan. Of course you are. You're going to take a little bit of garlic on there. I'm going to just rub that round nice and steady, and we've now got a buttered garlic naan. Okay, take a little bit of coriander and you've now got a buttered garlic coriander naan. There you go. Just put that to one side. Move that. Okay, take your bread, stick it up, look, in there like that. Come on, let's carry on. Butter on. A little bit of garlic. A little bit of coriander. And that is a coriander garlic naan. Come on, all we got to do is serve up our curry. And on there, a little bit of coriander. There you go. That is a poor man's curry. A really easy, simple curry to make. I've got some basmati rice here. Okay, on there, some of our curry. Let's give it a go. It's a bit warm, look. Oh, my mouth is absolutely watering. Fabulous. Very, very pleasant curry flavour. Not overly spicy. Nice and tomatoey. Well balanced with the spices. It's delicious. That is fantastic. Our naan. Look here, just like a naan bread. Come on. Oh yeah. Fabulous. Well, you're going to sit and watch me scoff here, so I better end it here. There you go. That is so easy to make a poor man's curry. We're not worried about the chicken, the beef mince, anything. We're using red lentils. High in protein, high fiber, really good quality ingredient. Next to nothing to buy. Get down to the Asian supermarket or market, or even in the supermarkets these days. They're everywhere. I'm covered in the stuff, look. They're everywhere. Really, come on. There you go. If you like what we're doing, share with your friends. Tell them how easy it is to make this super poor man's curry. Red lentil curry. If you do like what we're doing, big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell. Catch you in the next video. That is absolutely amazing.